Guess who's with us this Wednesday morning? Martha MacCallum, the one and only. How are you, Martha?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, I'm trying to cope with what looks like endless distraction. Russia, 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 Comey, Donald Trump Jr., the email chain. It seems to me that Washington is consumed with that. Well, you cover this. Am I right? Are they consumed with it?
I mean, look, this is a president who was elected to do really big things, right? He was elected to do tax reform, something that has had the largest groundswell of support of probably any single issue, and on both sides of the fence for years and years. He was elected to do health care reform, and he was elected to drain the swamp. Okay, these are things that are not popular among the elite in Washington. Scandals, investigations, these things are hugely popular in Washington, and this is it's like a fire that feeds on itself, and every day there's something else that keeps that going. It distracts from the underlying work that the president was elected to do, and it feeds exactly what they want to stay in power. They want to keep their positions. They want their big buildings. They want their bureaucracies. They want all of it, and this narrative continues to give them fuel for that flame. This Donald Trump Jr. story is significant, to be sure. It is not nothing. However, there's no crime, in terms of anyone that I've spoken to, can ascertain based on what we know now. So, you know, it gives them a lot to talk about, and of course we have to talk about it. It's part of the story. But it doesn't move the ball dramatically.
Well, does it move the ball for President Trump's base? And I ask that because it is an absolute barrage of negative coverage from the mainstream media. It's just coming at America. I suspect that it's going over a lot of people's heads, and that Donald Trump's core base remains intact and remains supportive. How does it look from your point of view?
I think that's very true. And I think in some ways, the more he gets attacked, the more they will rally for him. They do want the focus to be on jobs. They want it to be on the things that matter to them, health care, tax reform, and the like. Now, the question is, can the Republicans on the Hill get that work done? The smartest thing in my mind that they could do right now is to say, you know, we understand the president has these issues that he's dealing with, and it's difficult, but we're gonna pass legislation here. All he's got to do is we're going to put it on his desk. He's got to sign it. Okay? He can focus on what he needs to focus on. We're here to get the work done. It is preposterous that they are at this point in the game, 7 months into this presidency. They were supposed to have legislation on his desk on week 1.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
what
right.
has happened for 7 months? I mean, think of it in terms of a merger, right? A merger is a tough thing to pull off, okay? You put two companies together. You've got to please the shareholders on both sides. You have to get the boards on board. It's hard, right? But you have a deadline, and you get it done, or you say, like, it's like never going to happen. This deal is dead. They have none of this mentality in Washington, and it's atrocious, and it really ticks people off.
You're right. I suspect, though, that it's going to go down to the very, very last second.
It always does.
Way into August. There'll be horse trading, sausage making, all the way through the recess, which I don't... The first 2 weeks is gone. I suspect most of August is gone. But what do you think? Last minute, absolutely last minute, they suddenly say, OK, we got a deal. All bets are off.
I think it's highly possible. I think it's highly possible. It seems absurd that they have to push it to that point. I know they say it's hugely complicated, and it is, and everybody sort of has, you know, their dog in the game here. We know what the moderates want. They want more money for things like opioid programs and the like. We know the conservatives want this really to be handled by the states. There has to be some ground here. I mean, you can't just throw up your hands and say we can't do it.
No, you can't. You absolutely cannot do
They were elected to complete legislation, to do a job. And as I spoke to Jason Chaffetz last night, the American people expect them to vote. They expect them to vote. So vote.
Yes, do it. Get on with it, please. Well, we'll see you at 7 o'clock Eastern Time tonight.
Thank you, Stuart.
It's called The Story, isn't it? That's the story. You issue an editorial, don't you?
Occasionally, if I'm fired up, I take a little moment to make it very clear that I'm about to say something that's about what I'm thinking about.
Well, I do it all the time.
I know you do.
This is an opinion show. I feel free to do it.
Good to see you.
Martha, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Stuart.